Hi everyone, so I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about some sensitive topics. This has been on my mind for quite some time, and I've been trying to find the right words. Spoiler alert, I still haven't found them. But if I keep waiting for the right words and the right time, I'm gonna keep making excuses, I'm gonna keep putting it off, and I'm gonna keep being silent, and I don't want to be silent. I feel like I should have been speaking out more all along. I feel like there's more I should have done, there's more I should have said, and I, quite frankly, feel very uncomfortable doing this right now, but I know I should, at least on some level, feel uncomfortable. Alright, so that was some rambly nonsense that didn't really say a whole lot. I want to talk about white privilege. Now, it's taken me actually some time to accept and acknowledge my own white privilege because I feel like so many other white people, have built it up that acknowledging white privilege means saying you had an easy life. Like, that's one thing I keep seeing over and over again is someone's like, I don't have white privilege because of this, 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 and this. That's not what acknowledging white privilege means, though. White privilege is that your life wasn't made harder because of the color of your skin. White privilege means that I benefit because of the existence of systematic racism, because I'm a white person. Now, I feel like, and I'm guessing here, just solely based on people that I've spoken to, and I don't want to categorize people, but I do think that the majority of my audience is white. So I feel like that's the perspective I'm coming at this from. I want to be actively anti-racist. You know, it's not good enough to just sit back and read articles and retweet things on Twitter. And I feel like I've been way too silent on my platform, and I want to try the best that I can. This is not about internet points. I really want to stress that as well. I really genuinely want to be a better person, and I feel like I've failed on some levels. And talking about this publicly is very difficult for many reasons, but I mean, I'm sure I'm going to fail. I know I have made mistakes in the past, and I know that I will make mistakes in the future because I don't know everything. I'm trying to educate myself as much as I possibly can, but I don't know everything, and I don't know everything that I'm doing or saying wrong. I don't want my ignorance to be an excuse. I want to learn. And I know so much racism is ingrained. So much of it has to be unlearned. So many times things can be without malicious intent. Accidental racism. Like, I feel like that's why I've seen some people get defensive, and I will just say personally for myself, I found myself get defensive because I'm like, in my heart, that's not me. I would not ever be that kind of person. But just because that's not my intention doesn't mean that's what was conveyed. And I don't want to make excuses. I don't want to be defensive anymore. I just really want to be able to continue to keep growing. I also want to acknowledge that it's definitely not the responsibility of any Black or Indigenous, any person of color to educate me. I will say I hope that anyone who sees anything that I happen to do or say or whatever will call me on it, and I will do the work. I will educate myself, but some things, like I said, I may not know what I'm doing. For so many years here on YouTube, I've really tried everything I could do to impress people who didn't like me specifically. Like, I would really feel like, okay, this person said that they don't like this, so let's correct this. Oh wait, now this person doesn't like this, let's correct this, let's fix this, X, Y, and Z, how can I fix it all? It's impossible. Like, I can't please everybody, I know that. And that's not the intention of doing this. I'm not trying to win people over or win people back or whatever the situation may be. I just really wanted to talk about some of these things. And I've definitely used my white privilege in the past to not talk about issues, to simply glaze over them, with things going on in the world without addressing anything head on directly, just because I was afraid of backlash. But people, Black people, are being murdered. How can I stay silent? How? Black Lives Matter, period. It's hard not to get emotional seeing all of the things that are happening around me because I'm Canadian, so I feel like I'm a little bit removed from what's happening in America specifically. Now in Canada, we have our own set of issues, and there's a lot of issues specifically with Indigenous people, and I know I am woefully uneducated when it comes to Indigenous people in Canada. And you know, Canada's history was definitely taught to me from a very white perspective, and I feel like there's so much that I don't know from that angle and that I'm trying to teach myself, and I'm mad. Like, I feel like the education system really let me down. I feel like the education system failed me, and the more I talk about it, like, the angrier it makes me, because it's just further proof of systematic racism when people just don't believe like it exists in Canada, which it most definitely does. But even just specifically related to American politics, it's so closely tied to Canada. What happens in the US directly affects us here in Canada. So like, that's also a reason why I care so much, because like, there's always somebody that points it out and be like, why do you care? This doesn't mean anything to you. Yes, it does. And using the I don't want to be political thing is just garbage. At some level, it's not even about politics, it's morals. Like, I can't excuse blatant racism, homophobia, ableism, sexism, not to mention like fear and hate mongering that goes along with Trump's America. I cannot excuse it. As someone who is neurodiverse, I have a hard time learning new concepts and learning new things. It's difficult. Real life can be easier because, for example, like, I've spent many years learning how to fit in. I've spent many years doing things like reading books on body language, so I know how to properly react to somebody. It's a lot different when you are watching like a pre-recorded video, or when you are reading a comment, or you're reading something in an article, or people's comments on a forum, something like that. I feel like maybe in a live video you get a better idea and communicate with people, but for me it doesn't always process just text-based, because it can be so difficult for me to decipher tone and intent. And I feel like I have an issue with that sometimes with the videos I do, where like, I know I get super emotional and I get excitable and I'm really passionate about something that I'm talking about, and I'm not always sure if the intent and the tone come through in the way that I mean it to. Sometimes I might say something that to me is very sarcastic and dry, but other people take it very seriously. And I can tell by the comments sometimes when people completely misinterpret the things that I said. I won't lie and say that that's not on my mind for this video, that somebody's going to twist something that I said and it becomes something else. It becomes that game of telephone. If you've ever played that game as a child, I'm really sorry for background noise. Kashmir has gotten into something. She's mad I'm not paying attention to her right now. But anyway, the game of telephone. So in case you aren't familiar with it or the concept, basically you would have a phrase that you would think of and you would whisper it to one person. And then that person would whisper what they heard to someone else, and so on, till it's reached, 20, 30 people, and the person at the end has heard a completely different phrase than what the original person said, because things get lost. And I feel like that happens to me, and it's impossible to correct an interpretation. So that kind of segues into some community stuff and some, drama light things I want to talk about. Well, actually probably more like drama, but people watched my channel a lot when I was dealing with postpartum depression, when I was in an abusive relationship, when I was dealing with my father's illness. Like, that's all been happening during the exact time that my YouTube channel had been running. And so a lot of my moods and that certain sort of sadness or whatever definitely will convey in video, despite me not wanting it to. It does. And then people will sort of use that against me as well. But I want to talk about some drama stuff, because while we're talking about Black Lives Matter and while we're talking about white privilege, I really want to talk about the Jeffree Star situation just a little bit, because I've been semi-vocal, at least, about Jeffree Star and not supporting him. I have said this multiple times, and I've been met head-on with criticism. I've criticized the people who support him, and I've been met with the, well, how dare you? Who are you to not support the the people who support Jeffree Star. How dare someone like me not be forgiving and supportive of other people's choices? But I have no desire, and never had any desire, to be supportive of anybody who chooses to support a known racist. Someone who has all kinds of problematic things in his history that are well documented. This isn't stuff that I'm pulling out of nowhere. This is well documented stuff, and there has been no proof of change. Like some people will come back and say, he's changed. No. Okay, we're not getting into that, but no. Yes, I may be a little aesthetically different. I may like some creepy, weird stuff, and I might like colorful things, and being a little off, I guess, is something that people have said. But, you know, that doesn't mean that I align with that brand. I don't. I never have. I've had people leave long paragraph comments about how I was taking away a safe space for them, but this was never a safe space for anybody who supported somebody like Jeffree Star or Shane Dawson, and I'm honestly ashamed that I let people believe that it was. And I'm also ashamed that my behavior, my silence, probably led other people to believe that I really was aligned in a similar way, that I was a bird of a feather, so to speak. And I actually just realized, like, it just dawned on me when I was thinking about doing this video and I was thinking about some Jeffree Star stuff, that could also potentially be why I have a little bit of a wedge between me and some other people who are in this similar sort of offbeat beauty niche. Like, there's other people who do similar content to mine, and there's other people who have long reviewed and used J-Star products. And I have been vocal about it, and maybe that's why I was somewhat alienated from those people who, because I chose not to support those creators, and I was vocal about not supporting people who were making decisions to purchase from him. So I was thinking that could also explain it, because I know that there's been people who have gone to, subscribers who have gone to other creators and complained about me, you know, being mean to them without receipts, and having creators be like, oh, you poor thing, well, don't worry, you're safe here, kind of stuff. And I feel like even though some people I've seen like take their videos down, they've made statements saying they're not going to purchase from Jeffree Star anymore, and they don't, you know, support the actions and everything else, there's still like that wedge between there, and it's unfortunate, but, you know, like, I fully support that growth and that change, and it's not going to matter that they don't necessarily support me. But I just kind of came to me that I was thinking, I was like, oh, that makes a little bit more sense now, actually. It could just be my little tinfoil hat, like, conspiracy kind of thing, but it might actually be a legit thing. And while we're talking about makeup collections and makeup that people are choosing to buy, I want to diversify my own makeup collection. I've made an effort, and I believe it's been an honest effort of kind of canceling brands that have been exclusive. I've been trying to purchase from inclusive brands for many years and speaking out about the launches that are progressive, that have, you know, foundation, many shades of foundation, but there's more to diversity than having 40 shades of foundation, you know. And I've tried to be a person who won't say like, oh, I like this product and it's 3 shades of beige, but if you are also 3 shades of beige, this will work for you. And trying to, you know, really consider what the brand's message is as well. And I feel like I've been thinking about that for many years, and I feel like the proof is there with the stuff that I've purchased and the stuff that I've talked about. But I know I'm very guilty of purchasing and celebrating predominantly white-owned makeup brands. When I look at my own collection and I look at the things that I have the most of, that's what it is. I wanted to do the Black-owned makeup brand challenge, the Bomb challenge. I have stuff from 4 Black-owned makeup brands. Fenty, Pat McGrath, Colored Rain, Juvia's Place. And I was ashamed, like, when I looked at that, I don't keep saying this, it's not about like me and like my white guilt, it's just like, I was like, I really can't believe this is it. And I know that like the amount of Black-owned makeup brands specifically, like, there aren't that many, and maybe, you know, that's another thing to talk about. Perhaps there should be more. Maybe there are too many barriers to entry to the cosmetic world, and there are so many other things that people could offer that would be more interesting than some of the things we have now, quite frankly. But I want to make an effort to diversify the stuff that I have. I can't just go out and purchase new things right now. That's why I'm doing a no-buy, because I can't afford to purchase new makeup. But I know there will come a time when I will need to repurchase products. I will need to purchase new things. So I'm gonna look at brands like Danessa Myricks, who makeup artist does the glowy skin thing, is like right up my alley. Lip Bar caught my eye. Yoma Beauty caught my eye. There's a Canadian Indigenous brand called Cheekbone that I would really like to purchase some products from when I'm able to do so. And I really want to look at more indie brands in general. To me, it was really about, when I was purchasing, like over purchasing makeup, it was about buying things that I could get quick. Like for me, it was about wanting that instant gratification of getting product, not necessarily what it was. And because I wanted to like push out content using new things, and indie brands would take way too long to get to me here. So that's not an issue to me anymore. Like with the way that I do my makeup videos, like I'm not trying to push content out. I'm not trying to order things every like day. I've made one makeup order this entire year and it's July. So, you know, baby steps, baby steps. So when I can afford to do so, I want to explore indie brands in general. And I want to just explore and diversify my makeup collection as much as I possibly can. So anyway, I think that's enough for now. I'm sure there'll be a lot more later. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and for listening to me babble. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you. Once again, let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I would love to chat with you down below, and you can reach me by email, Instagram DMs. I will have my social media stuff down there as well. So anyway, thank you once again, and hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.